the legendary sheepdog of Scotland. The incredible world of sheepdogs. High in the rolling hills of Scotland, where the wind whistled through golden fields and the sheep dotted the landscape like clouds on green earth, lived a legendary sheepdog named Finn. Finn wasn't just any border collie. He was the border collie, the fastest, smartest, and most determined herder in the entire valley. For years he had worked alongside Old Tom, a weathered shepherd with a heart as steady as the mountains. Together they guided hundreds of sheep through storm and sun, always ensuring they were safe from danger. But now Old Tom was growing slower, his knees stiff from years of climbing hills, and Finn knew the day would come when he'd have to teach a new pup the ways of a true sheepdog. One crisp morning that day arrived. Tom brought home a young, floppy-eared pup named Kip, a bundle of energy with paws too big for his own good. Finn eyed him skeptically. Could this pup ever learn the craft? "Watch and learn, lad," Finn said, bounding across the pasture with grace. With a single bark, he sent the sheep into a smooth formation, his movements sharp and precise. Kip watched with wide eyes, then charged forward, straight into a pile of mud. The sheep scattered, bleating in amusement. Finn sighed. This was going to take a while. The training begins. The first few days were a disaster. Kip was full of energy but had no control. He would chase instead of guide, bark instead of stare, and often got so excited that he forgot why he was running in the first place. Finn watched in exasperation as Kip leaped over a small rock and tumbled into a bush. "Patience, lad," Finn said as he helped Kip up. "A good sheepdog doesn't rush. We think before we move. The flock trusts us to be calm." Finn started Kip with simple exercises. They practiced the stare, the way a sheepdog uses its eyes alone to communicate with the flock. Kip struggled at first. He preferred bounding after butterflies, but Finn didn't give up on him. Day by day, Kip improved. He learned how to move low to the ground, how to circle wide to avoid panicking the sheep, and most importantly, how to listen. One afternoon, Tom stood by the fence watching Kip practice. "He's got heart, that one," he mused. Finn wagged his tail but remained focused. Heart wasn't enough. He needed skill, too. The test of the hills. As Kip grew stronger, Finn decided it was time for the next test. The valley's gentle fields were one thing, but the rocky hills were another. There, a sheepdog had to be as swift as the wind, able to navigate steep terrain without losing control. One morning, Finn led Kip up the narrow trails to the higher pastures, where the flock grazed on the rugged slopes. Kip's tail wagged in excitement. "All right, lad," Finn said, standing at the top of the hill. "The trick here is balance and instinct. No barking, no rushing. Just read the flock and move where they need you." Kip nodded and took his first step down the slope. The ground was uneven, and a loose rock nearly sent him tumbling. He recovered quickly, his eyes darting to the sheep. He wove between them, nudging them gently in the right direction, just like Finn had taught him. But then disaster struck. A young lamb had wandered too far down the rocky edge, dangerously close to a sharp drop. The mother sheep bleated in distress, and Kip froze. "What do I do?" Finn's voice rang out. "Stay calm, Kip. Move slow." Kip gulped down his nerves and lowered himself, creeping toward the lamb. His paws were steady, his mind sharp. With gentle movements, he guided the lamb away from the ledge and back to safety. The mother sheep nuzzled her baby, and Kip's tail wagged in triumph. Finn nodded approvingly. "Now you're thinking like a real sheepdog." The storm that changed everything. Then one fateful evening, the storm rolled in. Dark clouds swallowed the sky, and rain lashed against the hills. The wind howled through the valley, rattling the fences. A bolt of lightning struck a nearby tree, sending frightened sheep scattering in every direction. Finn leaped into action, but even he couldn't be everywhere at once. "Kip, you're up!" Finn barked. Kip hesitated. Was he ready? But something inside him sparked. He sprinted through the storm, his instincts kicking in. He circled wide, remembering Finn's lessons, using his body, not his bark, to steer the panicked sheep. His paws were steady, his movements sure. Rain pelted down, soaking his fur, but Kip didn't falter. He zigzagged across the pasture, guiding lost sheep back to the main flock. Then he saw it, a tiny lamb, lost and shivering by the riverbank, the water rising fast. Without thinking, Kip dashed toward it. The ground was slick and he nearly slipped, but he planted his paws firmly. He gave the lamb a soft nudge, urging it forward. Slowly, step by step, he led it away from the river and back to safety. By the time the storm passed, every last sheep was accounted for. Finn walked up to Kip, shaking the rain from his fur. "Well done, lad," he said, pride shining in his eyes. A sheepdog. From that day on, Kip wasn't just a pup, he was a sheepdog. Tom scratched Kip behind the ears. "I reckon you've earned your place, boy," he said with a chuckle. As the sun rose over the valley the next morning, Kip stood tall beside Finn, ready for another day of work. The hills stretched before them, golden and endless. Kip wagged his tail, eager for the adventures to come. And in the incredible world of sheepdogs, there was no higher honor. If you want to watch more videos like this one, then be sure to click the like button or subscribe.